The streak, which had been called the best in the history of football, some say the greatest durability streak in the history of sports. Brett Favre's 297 consecutive game start streak will end tonight. Brett Favre is inactive for the Vikings game against the New York Giants in Detroit this evening at Ford Field, the location of tonight's surprise, spontaneous Monday night football game by virtue of the Metrodome roof collapse that they experienced this weekend in Minneapolis. Let's take you live to the sidelines at Ford Field right now. Randy Moss has the latest, where we were awaiting Brett Favre's warm-up. Did we ever see number 4 prior to this decision, Randy?
Scott, number 4 never made it out on the field. At least he hasn't yet, which is obviously an indication as the warm-ups progressed. And we saw Tavares Jackson throwing to Sidney Rice and the rest of the Vikings warming up. You know, knowing what we knew that Leslie Frazier wanted to see from Brett Favre before he would allow him to start, the fact that Favre wasn't on the field with his teammates throwing was, as the time progressed, was an obvious indication of what was going to transpire when the actives and inactives came out. You know, it only just lends even more of a surreal atmosphere to the game tonight. I mean, not only surreal from everything that's happened over the last 48 hours, the Minnesota Vikings playing a home game at Ford Field, but perhaps nothing will be as surreal as the Minnesota Vikings taking the field without Brett Favre, given this situation right now, Scott.
Well, while you were just talking there, we showed some video of Tavares Jackson, now the starter for the Vikings here tonight, warming up. It really just boils down to you have to win in the NFL. And Tavares Jackson apparently gives Leslie Frazier and the Vikings, in Leslie Frazier's opinion, the best shot to win. And so Favre goes down even with the streak ending tonight.
Well, Leslie Frazier had said emphatically he was not concerned with trotting a Brett Favre out on the field who wasn't sure he'd be able to last the entire 4 quarters. He wasn't interested in having Brett Favre tell him before the game, you know, I think my shoulder feels okay. I don't want to waste anything in warm-ups, but I want to go out there and give it a shot. You know, Leslie Frazier was very adamant that he wanted nothing but a 100% Brett Favre. And for that matter, I mean, Favre himself was saying all the right things leading up to this point, that he would know if his shoulder was not going to be good enough to go, and obviously it wasn't.
Well, we have our answer, but the surreal atmosphere doesn't end there. I see the crowd is filing in. We want to talk about that when we come back. And we also are going to see Brett Favre walk out apparently in street clothes for the first time for his team playing a game in 19 years. Brett Favre's arrival about an hour ago to Ford Field. Stand by, much more on this breaking news. Brett Favre finished.